Hi everybody, welcome to an exciting day of step, descent, bass. Here we have one of my favorite paintings of all time by Marcel Duchamp. He's the guy who put the toilet in the museum, but you could see he could actually paint. And then next to him, on either side, or next to the nude descending the staircase, is Nina Simone. Two of our topics for the day. Well, we won't be talking about Marcel Duchamp, but we will be talking about walking down in musical staircase land. Okay, so step, descent, bass. What is it? The term step, descent, bass seems general, but it's actually rather specific. You are always starting on scale degree 1 in the bass. You're always going to end up on scale degree 5, even if you pass through it first. You're going to always be descending stepwise, though it might either be diatonic or chromatic. And step descent almost always happens in a minor key. So, for instance, that is the most common progression. And it could be chromatic. It could be indirect, meaning you pass through scale degree 5 down to 4, and then you come back to 5 again. But those are your basic options. And there's one standard model, and this is the model to learn as a standard. One chord, minor 5-6, minor 4-6, and then 5. I'll play that one more time. And there are also, however, lots of variants. Some of them are in this chapter and some of them are in later chapters. So the main thing to learn in this chapter is really that standard model, and then you might learn a little bit about indirect step descent. But the most important thing is to memorize those chords: 1, minor 5-6, minor 4-6, and 5. So let's look at a little history of the step descent bass, sometimes called lament bass, for often used in sad type arias, lamenting. Often the bass line did matter, but the specific chords above it did not. So I told you to memorize those Roman numerals, but basically the most important thing you have to learn is that the bass descends 1, 7, 6, 5 in minor. So here we're going to listen to a set of continuous variations on step descent bass by Johann Pachelbel. So I'm going to play it for you, but as you're listening, maybe try to figure out whether Pachelbel is using those standard chords that I have on the previous page. So in this first measure, is this a 1 chord in F minor? In the second measure, is this a minor 5-6? Is this a C, E flat, G chord with an E flat in the bass? In this third measure, is this a minor 4-6? So that would be a B flat minor chord. In first inversion, is this a B flat, D flat, F chord? And then is this a major 5 chord, C, E natural, and G? I'll let you decide. You can even check these second 4 measures and see if they're the same. And this is a set of variations. So we know that Pachelbel is going to continue using this bass line the whole time, but does he use the same chords in here? And then similarly, a different set of variations here. They get repeated, so we'll listen to this whole excerpt. Let me call it up on Spotify. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. can see, I have put that piece in our Theory 2 Spotify playlist. Oh god, history again. Okay. So let's look at the standard model a little bit more closely. Step descent bass, the standard model. Do you guys remember the chords? 1, say it with me, minor 5-6, minor 4-6, and major 5. Okay. So the scale degrees in the bass we know are 1, 7, 6, and 5. And if you are, this is almost always happening in a minor key. And so just note that those are natural minor scale degrees. The 7th and the 6th are not raised. So in the key of G, La, Sol, Fa, Mi, or 1, 7, 6, 5. So note that these scale degrees are in natural minor. The 6 and 7 are not raised. It's not G, F sharp, E, D. It's G, F, E flat, D. And those standard chords, which I've mentioned now on every screen so far, 1, minor 5-6, minor 4-6, and 5. So you should definitely memorize those. That's really the only thing in this chapter, I think, that you have to memorize, but you should memorize those chords. And then just note that first 5 chord is minor, while the second one is major. So you don't have to think, it's good to recognize that this is unusual, that our 5 chord is a minor chord. You don't really have to think of it as being something special that the composer is thinking of using minor 5. You can really think of it as the composer wants scale degree 7 in the bass and wants some chord that's going to work over scale degree natural 7. So what are the possibilities? It could be a capital 7 chord if the F is the root of the chord. If F is the third of the chord, it's a minor 5, which is what we have here. If F is the fifth of the chord, it would be a B flat chord. So that would be a 3-6-4. You might see that. And there's an example in the book. I don't show it here, but Lates gives it. I'll just do it in this key, but oh, Jack. There we go, is a 3-6-4. And don't you come back no more. So in that particular case, it's a 3-6-4. In a sense, it doesn't matter what chord is there, but the classic is to use a minor 5-6. And those little 2 dots over the V is just to show you that that's a small V and this is a big V. So you sometimes see that. Okay, now we have this distinction between direct step descent and indirect. The progression is called direct if the first time the scale degree 5 comes around in the bass, which is measure 4 here, if it is harmonized by a major 5 chord, as in the standard model. So everything we've been doing so far has been direct step descent. But you would call the progression indirect if the first time that scale degree 5 comes around, which is now do, do, dum, bum. This is scale degree 5 in measure 4, but then you keep going down to dum, bum. So La, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Mi. If the first time it comes around, you harmonize it with something other than 5 to make it so that it's not the end of the phrase, and you keep going downward, and then you get up to, you go back to the real 5 here. So what is some sort of a weak chord that you could put on scale degree 5 in the bass? Let's think of all the chords that have scale degree 5 in the bass. So if scale degree 5 is the root, you would have a 5 chord. If scale degree 5 is the third of the chord, what kind of chord would you have? You'd have a 3 chord. We have 3-6. If scale degree 5 down here were the fifth of the chord, you would have a 1 chord, a 1-6-4. So that's what we are saying you would put here normally. And if scale degree 5 were the seventh of the chord, that's a possibility because it's resolving down, right? Sevenths always resolve down. If this scale degree 5 were the seventh of the chord, it would be a 6-4-2. You really could do any of those. You want to avoid root position 5, though. That's the point of indirect step descent. So I'm going to give you an example. You already have that example of direct step descent from Pachelbel. This is an example from Nina Simone, her song Feeling Good, So we'll listen to her version of it about the first half of the song, and then I will play it for you. And she does a sort of elaborated version of indirect step descent, which you can see here. Dum ba dee da dum. That's scale degree 5, but she harmonizes it with a 1 6 4. Scale degree 4, scale degree 3, scale degree 2. She keeps going before she goes back to scale degree 4, and then 5 with a real 5 chord. So that's basically the third time that progression comes around. She sings 2 verses with direct step descent, and then, or 2 lines of a verse with direct step descent, and then indirect for sort of the final line of the verse. So let's give it a listen, and then I'll play it for you.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know.
Okay, so I'll take you over to the piano for a second. So I think you could probably hear in there pretty clearly that once the music, once the accompaniment comes in, you have. So very simply, that's scale degree 1. We're in G minor here. 1, 7, 6, 5, and then back up there. And interestingly, on the 5, she goes up to F natural again, which is sort of a blues thing to do, but you can really think of that as the standard progression. 1, minor 5, 4, minor 4, 6, and then 5. The way it's harmonized, it changes a little bit throughout the song. And I actually don't have that passage that I was just playing written out for you. But we can look at what happens when she does indirect. So let me just play it for you once. Fish in sea, you fish in sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you shoot. Okay, I'd have to do it again. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Little coronavirus cough there for you. Okay, so at first she beats 5/7 with a suspended 4th. Okay, so then you get to the progression that I have written out here. I know it's a little confusing. So 1 chord, 1 4 2. So that that looks like a confusing chord, it's 6 half diminished. It's not that crazy when you think about it as being the 6th chord that you get in melodic minor. So G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, right? That's our, or E, F sharp, G. That's our melodic minor. You go E, G, B flat, D, and you get a 6 half diminished. So that's really the chord that you get from natural minor. She's just combining, she's holding a G chord up here. G, F, E, E flat in the bass, right? So that gives us a major, major 6/7. 1, 6, 4, so that's scale degree 5. That's a non-5 chord, showing that you're going to keep going. So this is what makes it indirect. She keeps going down, and in this case, she even keeps going. There, she's got a nice, really interesting chord, a 2 there, 2/7. I should say 2/7 sus4 because of the G and the A. This D is like a suspended 3rd that doesn't resolve to the C. And then it goes up to a 2 again in 1st inversion, 2/7 with a suspended D again still, and then 5 chord. So that progression by itself without the word sounds like. And I'm feeling good. Okay, so maybe one more, I'll do it one more time from the beginning. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know. Maybe I won't. Let me get some water. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossoms on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. All right, I think that's a song appropriate for the current time that we're in. I actually imagined what it would feel like going outside, seeing blossoms on trees. But I do want to say one thing about this. I think this is inherent in Nina Simone's lyrics too, is that there's not a time where you're waiting to be free and feel good. You gotta feel good now. So I hope you guys are enjoying your time with your family at home in kind of like solitary confinement, but really can also be meditative. So I hope you enjoyed this and look forward to seeing you again in person at some point. I'll try to keep the videos coming. Okay.